Tesla is still the undisputed leader in electric vehicles, but America's biggest automakers are nipping at its heels. Today we look at General Motors, a stock that we rate at 8 out of 10. And according to Trackstar, our proprietary sentiment indicator, there was a startling surge in retail searches for the stock over the past 14 days. Now Ford aims to go 100% electric by 2030, and GM is shooting for 2035. The stocks have similar annual sales, but GM is slightly cheaper than Ford, and we think it's the better buy. Since 1908, General Motors has produced automobiles from its headquarters in Michigan, and the company is now focused completely on the US, having sold its loss-making European operations in 2017. Inventory has bounced back from supply chain shortages, though it's below pre-pandemic levels. Inflation took a bite out of profits, costing GM around $5.5 billion in 2022. GM improved its margins in most categories thanks to higher and stickier prices padding the bottom line. But GM has $27 billion in cash on its balance sheet, but the company expects to spend $35 billion through to 2025 on electric and automated vehicle development. Long-term debt levels have held steady. However, legacy debts from divestitures are a concern, and interest expenses cost the company as much as 10% of its operating income. GM looks incredibly cheap based on both its price to earnings and price to cash flow ratios. Simply put, Ford is more expensive. We think that growth is behind the discrepancy, yet both stocks have roughly the same revenue growth rates, looking both backwards and forwards. However, GM does better than Ford across nearly every profitability measure, including return on assets, equity, and total capital, not to mention cash from operations. We assume Ford trades at a higher multiple because of its ambitious EV targets, but GM generates more cash for similar revenues, so it's hard to ignore the company's value. That's why we're more inclined to pick GM here, as we abandon post-pandemic inventory shortages and move towards an EV future.